Mr. Mayor, it's time.
I'd like to call this meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for the invocation. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Hughes?
Dear Heavenly Father, we humbly bow before Thee this evening and thank You for the many mercies and blessings that Thou hast provided us in our beautiful community of Douglas. We're grateful for our free country. We're grateful for our men and women in uniform that help watch over us and protect us. Please bless them always, Father, and keep them safe. Father, we ask a blessing upon all levels of our government, that they will be able to seek Thy guidance and be able to do what's best for all involved. We ask for Thy guidance this evening, Father. We ask for peace and protection and healing and love. We pray in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Roll call.
Mayor Robert Trujillo.
Present.
Councilmember Margaret Morales. Present. Councilmember Mitch Lindemann.
Present.
Councilmember Donald Stewart.
Here.
Councilmember Rich Shelton.
Present.
Councilmember Cesar Soto.
Here.
Councilmember Jose Campbell.
Present.
City Attorney Juan Pablo Flores.
Present.
City Treasurer Richard Wilson.
Present.
Rules of conduct will be followed by all calls for public speakers. Each speaker will be given up to 3 minutes to speak. I will let you know when there are 30 seconds left to speak. I ask all speakers to observe rules of decorum and good conduct. I will not allow any speaker to make any personal, impertinent, or slanderous remarks. I ask the audience to observe these same rules of decorum and good conduct. And no person shall interrupt the legislative proceedings. Item number 1, discussion decision on approval to engage Interim Public Management LLC for the appointment of Jermaine Watson as Interim City Manager and contract approval. May I have a motion to approve?
Mayor, I move that the Mayor and Council approve the engagement of Interim Public Management LLC for the appointment of Jermaine Watson as Interim City Manager and contract approval.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Lindemann, second by Councilmember Grijalva. Any discussion?
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Hughes?
I was just wondering about the funding, and I know we've had discussions over the past few meetings of trying to come up with funds for various items, and so that's question number 1 is funding, how we would be able to afford this. Do we have an answer for that?
Mr. Mayor, I believe we looked into this earlier with staff members, and Mr. Pedrosa is prepared to respond to that inquiry.
I can't hear. Can I hear?
Doesn't want to be heard.
Excuse me, will you please speak into the mic? Because we can't hear. And another thing, it's not being recorded.
Ma'am,
And it should be recorded.
if we have any outbursts like that, we heard you the first time, they will fix the microphones, but we shall not have any outbursts from the back like that. We want to make sure that this process is successful and that all voices are heard. So just bear with us for a moment.
Very well, Your Honor. With reference to the question regarding the funding, staff looked into that earlier, and Mr. Pedrosa is prepared to address that on behalf of the administration. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, members of council. The salary savings amounts within the administration budget, budgeted for the city manager, left us with about $60,510 for us to assign for the interim city manager. Based on the cost in the contract, as it dictates, it would take the city $85,690 to execute this contract beginning on January 28th through June 29th, which is basically our fiscal year, and the funding that we're seeking is basically through that fiscal year appropriation. Plus $1,500 a month that's been calculated, which is approximate, about $7,700. So total cost would be $93,390. So the shortfall with what we have left over within the administration budget would be $32,879.44 that we would need to come up with. We've also looked at alternatives for where we can get this money, but we have to look at the entire general fund budget as a whole in order for us to be able to pull some money. So basically is, where do we stand as of December 31st in the general fund budget, and we're currently in the red by $261,000. So by adding $32,000, that would increase that 261 to about 293. Several options to look at to not only reduce that deficit of 261, but also try and find the $32,000 is several things that require direction from the mayor and council. We would need to look at reduction of city services, put in place a hiring freeze, a spending freeze as well, no overtime, only for critical and essential, and even review of critical and essential overtime. Review all department services for efficiencies, and another option to look at is to create new revenue sources for us to come up with this cash.
I have a question.
Yes.
May I ask why I wasn't approached as chairman of the finance committee so we could discuss it with the other finance committee members?
Ms. Morales, as far as this item tonight for discussion, the one for the contract, or do you need something else?
No, this is a contract. And why wasn't I approached, we could have a meeting, a special meeting, to determine where this funding was going to come from, or if we were going to find it to cover this expense.
I think that's something that, with your direction, we can do, but this was pretty sudden the way it came about.
Mr. Mayor, if I may, I noticed in the proposal, for lack of a better term, that was received, it's like January 11th, it said that they would provide up to 3 confidential interim resumes. And I was just wondering, how did we go from those 3 to this one?
It's a great question, Mr. Yosh. The League of Cities, the company that we were working with, endorsed this company, and they understood the climate of the city currently, and this is the person that they highly recommended for us to review. In addition, I also asked the company, and maybe Mr. Fortis or Brenda, you guys can help me. As far as I know that there is a 6-month contract, but if we're able to acquire someone within 3 months, how does that work out? Are we still responsible for the 6 months, or are we just responsible for whatever period we use?
I would urge the public to not interrupt the meeting with commentary and public comment. Council has to be given an opportunity to do their job, and interference with it brings about safety concerns, and would ask once again the public let the council do their business in a manner that is not disruptive. Very well, Mayor. To answer your question, supposing we only need this interim person for 3 months, and at the end of the 3 months, a full-time candidate is found and we can hire him. According to the contract, once we give the appropriate notice, we would be responsible for 50% of the weekly or the monthly for that 6-month period. So in any at whichever point we're able to identify a permanent city manager, then we would still be responsible for 50% of the remainder of whatever is due in the contract. Thank you, Mayor.
Mr. Mayor, if I may ask another question. Because of the amount of money, procurement laws and issues, how is that handled, or how is it possible?
Basically, the city's obligation would be to meet the requirements. Very good question. As a matter of fact, there's a clause in the contract that says that the city would not be responsible for any amounts over and above what's already been budgeted for the particular item. So legal argument could be made that, in essence, we would only be responsible for the balance in that particular line item, so that's a viable option if and when we get there. Obviously, it's in the city's best interest that if this matter is considered and if it is approved, that we move expeditiously to identify a permanent city manager for the city of Livingston. Thank you, Mayor.
If I may follow up, what are the procurement thresholds? Because this is over $100,000. I understand the savings, but budget-wise and procurement law are two different issues, and so I'm just very concerned about contracting with someone that we haven't sought proposals out in the public to be able to do that.
I understand your question a little better now, Mr. Yost. May I respond?
Yes, Mr. Swanson.
Contracts for personal service do not need to be procured, Mr. Yost. There is no mandate for that. It's only for goods for material goods.
Mr. Mayor, that's news to me, and I would love to provide for my personal edification any reference that states that to that fact. Now, if I could ask another question, Mayor, is there a reason why we're not looking to someone on staff to be able to do this? And because of the financial situation that we find ourselves in, I understand that we can essentially name any staff member as interim city manager to be able to handle that. I know the animal control gentlemen, they're fine individuals. I'm sure one of those could help us out to be able to do things at a much lower cost than that. So the financial concerns, procurement concerns, I'm concerned. I don't know how to put it. So I guess my question is that have we looked at and seriously considered any staff member? And I'll see that animal control people here, but I love you. and I think that you're qualified, you're great employees. We have great employees, and that's why I think we could find somebody within our ranks to do that. So I just wondering how that was considered, whether that consideration was given.
I think, Mr. Lewis, no one argues the fact that we have outstanding employees. My biggest concern is that we have an incredible amount of momentum at this moment. I've interacted with lots of people along with council who are in contact with people wanting to invest in governance, and yet there are projects like the master plan that has yet to been revised. We have the Port of Entry project, which is another strong focus, and people, investors, are asking legitimate questions. Where is the city growing? I think there is no question that we have outstanding representation within our government. But at this particular moment, we need to find someone right now that's going to be able to help us heal the community, unite us together, so we can move the city of Douglas forward. That has been each member of this governing body's responsibility. And that's why we are in this situation where we're in right now. I think it's great that you see the vision of our employees and how wonderful they are, and at this particular moment, I have people right now asking me, Mayor, can you provide an MOU along with the master plan so we can come and invest in Douglas? And I have yet to respond to them. Any other discussion?
Mayor, I have a comment, if I may. Earlier this year, I had a few ideas on how to trim the budget, and that never came to pass. And I still think that some of those ideas will be viable, so that we could find the money that would cover this particular shortfall.
Thank you. Roll call. Dr. Gomez?
This is dead. Can you hear me? No.
I think that your voice is strong enough that you can project. I hear you clearly.
We don't. I want to be real quick, so everybody can. What a charade, what an embarrassment. This city has never experienced anything like this. And somebody's got to be held accountable. For it's up there, for this thing to get engaged, because people in the administrative office, you've got to be held accountable. Somebody created this thing. It didn't appear by itself. So those that created this really should resign. What you created here, economic disaster. You have lost all the respect of your constituents. So look at yourself, and somehow or other we got to cure this. And if you created this thing, you're responsible. Thank you.
Roll call.
Before I vote, I just want you to know that my vote is based on what my constituents want and what I know what the citizens of Douglas want, and I have to say no.
Yes.
No.
Okay, I gotta make a comment too then. probably gonna be yes, but I'm gonna go no. But, whoever, if this lady comes, I'll support her 1,000%. But it's gotta be no. My answer is no. Thank you.
Ward 5?
Yes.
Ward 6?
Yes.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes. Motion carries. Item number 5, person wishing to address the council writing or verbally on any item not on the agenda. Ms. Soto? Ms. Capilla Soto, excuse me.
Good afternoon. My name is Carla Castillo Soto, and I'm married to one of those guys that is sitting up there. And I gotta tell you that I thought long and hard before making the choice of coming here and standing in this podium. He doesn't even know why I'm here. I didn't tell him. And I have been a proud resident of this town for almost 8 years. And I gotta tell you that my pride on this town at this moment is a little bit diminished, but not for the reasons that you think. I'm not here to talk about any specific issues related to the city. I'm here to talk about the building. The building. A very wise woman said to me once that we lose the right to be right the moment we choose to hurt or we're trying to prove to people that we're right. We lose the right to be right the moment we choose to hurt or the moment that we choose to insult. I'm not here to tell anyone which position to take or what they need to believe in. You have that right. You have earned it. I'm here to ask you to be civil about it. To be respectful of other people's views and other people's choices. I have a cousin who had the opportunity to survive the attacks of 9/11. He was in one of the towers. 3 of my nieces were in the Douglas High School shooting in Florida. And the comment that really struck a chord on me when I was talking to my family members is how surprised they were when these things happen, especially in Douglas High. The one thing they said to me was, "This wasn't supposed to happen here." And my response to them was, "Well, where is it supposed to happen?" Tragedies happen because we allow them to happen, because we confuse passion for anger. You have the right to be passionate about what you believe. You don't have the right to be disrespectful. I don't have the right to be disrespectful. It is extremely hurtful for my family, my children and I, to hear people insult my husband in public. When we're on the street and they yell things at him. He can defend himself. He chooses not to do it. And then I have to sit down and explain to my children that those are the actions of people throwing tantrums, not the actions of adults. Do as I say, not as I do, has become the motto of my family. When is it enough?
Thank you, Ms. Soto.
I know we have 3 minutes. Can I finish? I'm about to. I apologize.
Oh, yeah.
Like I said, it's extremely hurtful for my family, and I do hear people insult my husband in public.
Can we listen? If we cannot keep our emotions as we respect each other, I will table this whole agenda until the next council meeting. Can we respect each other? She has 30 seconds. Let's give her the 30 seconds.
It's hard to hear people insult my husband in public just to attempt to embarrass him in front of me and my children because he chooses to stand for what he believes is right. I don't know if anyone here is right or wrong. I know he's wrong at home. That's a different story. But I do know that whatever choices he makes and you make, you have to go home and live with them. We have a funny understanding of the word democracy. In a democracy, we get to elect which leaders will make the tough choices. We vote for them. But we have to understand that we don't get to vote over every single decision that they make.
Thank you, Ms. Soto.
Thank you.
Mr. Donnie Hewish Jr. That I didn't tell you, sorry. Mr. Mayor, council members, my name is Donnie Hewish Jr. I live at 1643 17th Drive here in Douglas. From what I understood from the paper that I read, that we addressed you and not anyone here, so my comments are different. As I just mentioned, my father is a member of the council, but we've not, however, discussed any of the words that I've prepared to share now. So today, I'd like to mention some of the things I viewed in the last meeting. I think that can happen. The council also asked the council to discuss and decide whether the removal of the city manager was appropriate and in accordance with the city charter, and if there was a violation of law based on the city attorney's admonition at the last council meeting regarding the vote contract renewal for Jim Russell. The city charter in Article 1, Section 2 says, the municipal government provided by this charter shall be known as mayor, council, manager government. The mayor and council shall appoint the city manager. It later says in Article 3, Section 1, the manager shall be appointed by the council and shall hold office for and at the pleasure of the council. Then it continues in Section 9 under the same Article 3, and I know that the city attorney clarified the voting of last meeting, but this still applies about removal of the city attorney. He may be removed by 5/7 vote. If requested, the council shall grant him a public hearing. Maybe that should be requested. During the interim, the council may suspend the manager from duty, but shall continue his salary. It doesn't appear to me that that was done properly. Further, in the last meeting, after the executive session was adjourned, the city attorney admonished the council, quote, before council can take action on any Title VII civil rights complaint, there needs to be an independent investigation. So until that is done, there will be no action relative to that particular complaint. He then offered to answer any questions, but no questions were raised. He then stated that Title VII notice should not be taken into consideration by council when making decisions on any city matter as to the city employee or city official until the findings from the competent and independent investigation of the Title VII civil rights complaint are provided. But then when it came time to discuss the city matter regarding the city officer, the first voting council member claims to speak on behalf of others and says, while we hope everyone understands we cannot share certain information, we now vote on that information in mind. So it believes to me that it appears that certain council members and mayor may have voted on the following, on the fellow city charter, or fails to follow the city charter and the advice of the city attorney. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't have a degree, a legal degree, but Mayor, you also mentioned that we do need to find someone right now. So if we knew that Jim's contract was done and he was done, why didn't we start this process so much sooner? Thank you. Ms. Sheila Vega? Shelley, excuse me.
I have a little concern. I believe any city council person should not feel the need to approach a minor in a basketball game regarding any council meeting in which the parent attends. I find it inappropriate, unprofessional, unethical, and underhanded. Where's the level of maturity here, I'll say? Where is the level of maturity here? How dare you go up to my son and discuss, did you see, don't make that face, did you see what happened in the meeting? Did your mom discuss with you? Why would I take my discussions of what happened in the city to my 15-year-old son? Why would I discuss this? Do you want to approach this, Jose? I mean, this is ridiculous. What happens here is here with me, not my son. It doesn't pertain to him. This has nothing pertaining to a 15-year-old kid. If you felt you need some consolidation, or I don't know, you see it in your friends. Don't go to a basketball game in which I did send a message to Joe. And I have all the messages. I have all of them, in which I sent you a message as well. So I'm just gonna ask you respect me and my son, or there'll be big problems. Next time you approach my son about anything, that is illegal and that is wrong. This is a child, a minor. Don't. And you can make all the excuses you want, Jose. It's okay. But please be professional and respect me and my son.
Mr. Espinosa?
We the community want transparency. We want to be involved in the hiring process of the city manager. We deserve that. We want to participate in providing feedback, meeting these people that are going to be hired as our city manager, because it affects all of us, not just people on that desk. I want to thank Margaret, Ronnie, and Ray Shelton for standing up for the four should seek resignation. We want to be included. We're tired of hearing executive order, where you guys go back there, go to basketball games, chit chat about our community, and that's not right. You need to include the business leaders, the faith-based leaders, teachers, all the educators, students, seniors. Get everybody involved so that we can work as a team, not work for you. Douglas right now is going through such an extreme deficit, and here you guys are going to go spend more money on somebody that's going to come to Douglas that has no idea about Douglas. We already had a city manager, and he's standing over there. Yeah. When your employees like you, it's not like Mr. Rodas over here making little kid faces, pouting and laughing at a concerned parent. When your parents when your employees like you, you're doing something right. The other guys on the board right now, you guys asked for this. I respect your wife for coming to stand up for you. I do. That took a lot of courage. But you know what? You guys went about it wrong. You guys didn't discuss it with him. You didn't even bother. You guys just went and dumped all his stuff on his porch. Who does that? You don't do that to a human being. How would you like it if tomorrow, Mayor, all your junk was thrown at your house, at your front door? That's shameful. You don't do that to a human being who brought his family, set up base here in Douglas, and now all of a sudden, you're done. That's wrong. Again, Margaret, Donnie, Mr. Shelton, thank you for standing up for your ward.
Ms. Como, Lulia.
You guys now have nice I just want to
That'd be great.
Good evening, my name is Nubia Romo and I reside at 551 10th Street in Douglas, Arizona. The past few weeks have only highlighted for me the need for a strong ethics code within city administration. We have lost confidence in our mayor and regret believing that he would finally build our little community. We believed in the vision and he disappointed us all. I strongly urge the mayor to do what is right, to stop making decisions based upon what is better for you, the city clerk, and the attorney. This is the biggest goal of community we have closed. This is Douglas thriving, and Douglas is ready for business. You use those terms, is it really ready for business? How do you expect to ever build commerce in a community that just does thrive? If the only important thing to our mayor is what he wants or what makes him happy. It's never been about the community, Mr. Leader. It was about you the whole time. The language that on paper, enough. The last thing I'd like to do is ask council members, Lindemann, Soto, and Mr. Benjalba, why did you vote yes? And why have you never explained your vote and why? Good, thank you.
Ms. Robles? President Robles?
Yes. I'll hold it. Honorable Mayor and Councilman. My name is Olga Robles. I live at 809 8th Street. I think you have made a great and a grave mistake. For the record, retract what you have done. Apologize and keep out of a lawsuit. Because you have failed the charter and our city is illegally firing somebody, getting rid of somebody that shouldn't have gotten rid of. Not that way. He should have been notified 3 months before maybe. But the worst part of this is that our charter, here it is, I'm going to read it. Removal procedure. The council will remove the manager at any time by 5/7 vote of the members. It is requested the council shall grant him a public hearing within 30 days following the notice of removal. That is what our charter says, Mr. Reader. That's what it says. It is like what? We go by our charter. We don't go by your rules. We're tearing up with your rules. You spent $10,000 on a Christmas tree for outside, $2,000 for one inside, and now we're in debt. You have us the red that has never been in the red before. It's time for you to resign, not to wait for the weekend. And you have to say what I want to say. Mr. Lindemann, I'm appalled with you. I am appalled. You told us that you would represent the people, that's what you were elected to do. And Mr. Soto, I don't think you even know what the city manager inquires about. I don't think you know you want to know. I think you're just filling in a vacancy. And Mr. Benjalba, I respect you. A man of God, a man that says that has Christ in his heart. Look at him. He didn't even try to find out what the truth was about this. Let me tell you, our city is in shameful way today. And our city attorney, he never has time to advise our council properly. I think it's time for you to remove yourself from being a city attorney. You're talking about too much money. And you, city clerk, you didn't do such a good job in the last week's call. I hope you do a better job this time.
Thank you, Ms. Robles. Item number 6, discussion decision on consent agenda items. May I have a motion to approve?
I make a motion we approve the city agenda items, please.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Shelton, second by Councilmember Lindemann. Roll call.
Ward 1?
Yes.
Ward 2?
Yes.
Ward 3?
Yes.
Ward 4?
Yes.
Ward 5?
Yes.
Ward 6?
Yes.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, motion carries. Item number 7, discussion decision on approval of third reading of ordinance number 18-1097, an ordinance of the Mayor and Council of the City of Douglas, Cochise County, Arizona, amending ordinance number 18-1086, readjusting fees for the Douglas Fire Department Emergency Medical Services, EMS, and apply for automated rate adjustments per ARS 362234, establishing severability of components and establishing an effective date thereof.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, the item before you is on third and final reading, ordinance number 18-1037 will establish the new ambulance rate adjustment based on the Arizona Department of Health Services recommendations, and that is pursuant to Title 36 of the Arizona Revised Statute. Rate increases have not been addressed since 2011, but in 2018, the issue was addressed in order to keep up with inflation and to sustain the EMS division for future service for our community. If approved, the rate will become effective 30 days after the approval date. I recommend approval.
Mr. Mayor?
Mr. Hewish?
Move that the mayor and council approve the third reading of ordinance number 18-1097 by number and title only.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Hewish, second by Councilmember Morales. Any discussion? Roll call.
Ward 1?
Yes.
Ward 2?
Yes.
Ward 3?
Yes.
Ward 4?
Yes.
Ward 5?
Yes.
Ward 6?
Yes.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes. Motion carries.
In ordinance to the Mayor and Council of the City of Douglas, Puerto County, Arizona, amending ordinance number 18-1086, readjusting fees for the Douglas Fire Department Emergency Medical Service and apply for automatic rate adjustments per ARS 36-2234E, establishing severability of components of ordinance and establishing an effective date thereof.
Item number 8, discussion decision on approval of second reading of ordinance number 18-1099, an ordinance of the Mayor and Council of the City of Douglas, Cochise County, Arizona, repealing ordinance number 09-969 and ordinance number 10992 relating to parking lot fees and resurface in Title III of the Douglas Municipal Code and reserving Chapter 3.14 for other revenue-related ordinances, establishing severability of components of ordinance and establishing an effective date thereof. Mrs. Aguilar?
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, the City of Douglas completed the donation of the parking lot located at 204 First Street and 236 First Street to General Services Administration in the previous year. That took place in March of 2018 pursuant to ordinance number 18-1084. As a result, it is now necessary to repeal the relevant parking lot user fees ordinances since the city no longer owns the property. Furthermore, in nothing to the Douglas Municipal Code will also be necessary for future use. I recommend approval of this ordinance as well.
Mr. Mayor? Mr. Hewish?
Move that the mayor and council approve the second reading of ordinance number 18-1099 and to place it on third reading by number and title only.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Hewish, second by Councilmember Shelton. Any discussion? Roll call.
Ward 1?
Yes.
Ward 2?
Yes.
Ward 3?
Yes.
Ward 4?
Yes.
Ward 5?
Yes.
Ward 6?
Yes.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes. Motion carries.
In order to the Mayor and Council of the City of Douglas, Cochise County, Arizona, repealing ordinance number 09-969 and ordinance number 10-992 relating to parking lot fees as referenced in Title III of the Douglas Municipal Code and reserving Chapter 3.14 for other revenue-related ordinances, establishing severability of components of ordinance and establishing an effective date thereof.
Item number 9, discussion decision on approval of second reading of ordinance number 18-1100, an ordinance of the Mayor and Council of the City of Douglas, Cochise County, Arizona, authorizing the city to accept a donation of real property from the Ever Jones and Jones Revocable Living Trust of improved real property identified as Cochise County Parcel Number 410-06-013. Ms. Aguilar?
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, Ever Jones Sr. wishes to donate a small strip of improved roadway that is in front of Liberty Traditional Charter School. It occupies the city's own paved street, curb gutter, and sidewalk along Washington Avenue and has been maintained by the city. Approval is recommended.
Mr. Mayor?
Mr. Hewish?
I move that the mayor and council approve the second reading of ordinance number and to place it on third reading by number and title only.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Hewish, second by Councilmember Morales. Any discussion?
I have, Mayor, if I could, and maybe Mr. Carson might be the best to answer this. In looking at of course, the aerial map that you submitted to us, that property sits in front of course, that Liberty School. The rest of it going north, where does that leave us, or should we be seeking that also, or what are the ramifications, if any, of not having the rest of that street all the way out to that road behind the golf course?
The parcel does not go beyond the property line of Liberty School.
Mr. Carson, if you can hold it just a moment, please.
And the right-of-way actually narrows to the north, not a problem.
Any other questions? Roll call?
Ward 1?
Yes.
Ward 2?
Yes.
Ward 3?
Yes.
Ward 4?
Yes.
Ward 5?
Yes.
Ward 6?
Yes.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes. Motion carries.
In order for the mayor and council of the city of Douglas, Cochise County, Arizona, authorizing the city to accept a donation of real property from the Everett Jr. and Joan and Jones Revocable Living Trust of improved real property identified as Cochise County parcel number 410-06-013.
Item number 10, discussion decision on approval of first reading of ordinance number 19-1109, an ordinance of the mayor and council of the city of Douglas, Cochise County, Arizona, partially modifying the structure of the Public Works Department by adding a construction inspector for the Bay Acres Sewer Project at a range of 20, establishing severability of components of ordinance and establishing an effective date thereof. Second item.
Mr. Mayor, I will defer to Mr. Barosa.
Yes, Mayor and Council, the Baker Sewer Project is well underway. As you know, we received $6.8 million from USDA to get sewer connected to the Bay Acres community, running in tandem with the wastewater treatment plant expansion project. This petition for your consideration is for that project, the Bay Acres Sewer Project. The construction management services contractor came back with a proposal for the RPR services required by the USDA grant to inspect the work being performed within the project. The proposal to fund that position was around $276,000. We came back with the idea of possibly creating our own position within the city of Douglas, within sort of like being just the employer, but being directed by the contractor to perform the duties as is being required by the grant, thus saving us more than $200,000 within the project. If we were not to go that route, we would be over on our grant of $6.8 million as is projected by the preliminary engineering report. So for your consideration is the creation of this position on a temporary basis, only allocated for this grant funded, and only for the period of time that the project is being constructed.
Mr. Mayor, Mr. Yosh.
I move that the mayor and council approve the placement of ordinance number 19-1101 on its first reading by number and title only.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Hewish, second by Councilmember Lindeman. Any discussion?
I have some discussion. I'd like some questions, Mayor, if I may.
Yeah.
I guess I have a few. Well, one of them is that what type of individual do we expect to find, and how easy do we anticipate it to be found? And weighing that against a contracted person that would come in, not work for us, but come in, perform the inspections that we need, go home, and bill us for that, versus having somebody on staff 40 hours. I can't imagine them inspecting for 40 hours. It may be some weeks yes, some weeks no, and so I just want to know the thought process of. I appreciate the looking at it of trying to obtain the savings,
of getting somebody on staff versus allowing the construction company to put somebody in that, which always raises the price. So if you could just walk me through that and go from there.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, Councilmember Hewish, the position is required to be at 40 hours a week due to, again, a grant requirement. As far as the qualifications for this position, within the attached job description, we have a high school that this person needs some experience within the construction field. I don't see us having any issues with hiring a qualified individual. What that position is meant to do is whatever the contractor is doing, is installing, that person is the eyes and ears of the contracted engineer. That individual is going to report on every single connection being made at the sewer at Bay Acres. We'll make daily reports. We'll conduct safety checks, making sure that all safety is being followed, no cutting corners, things like that. I believe we can find a qualified individual with the qualifications that we've set out. I know that that should not be an issue. I think we can find them within the city.
May I ask a follow-up then, please? With that being said, and I'm feeling the ache in my pocketbook as far as the council goes, and I know that the grant should cover the majority of this. But you mentioned the requirements of high school and some construction experience, which leads me to believe that range 20 may be a little bit high. And I don't know if that's a requirement also, so I'd like to ask that question.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Councilmember Hewish. The way we came up with the job description was strictly based off of the USDA EJDC contract. Very specific guidelines as to what the position requires. And Human Resources placed that position and compared it to other positions within other cities within the state and compared it, made the proper analysis as far as where that position falls within the city, our size, within the qualifications of our city, and that's how we basically came up with that range and those duties as have been assigned within the job description.
Mr. Mayor, I'm sorry, which leads me back to my experience has been that sometimes these positions, when they're brought in temporarily, they end up creating more work for the existing staff. And what I mean by that is that they're needed to provide reports and stuff like that, so they end up going to the secretary. Can you type this for me, or can you do this for me? And so that's why I go back to the contract portion of it, that, you know, we want the services, it's required, we perform them, we pay you for them. I don't care if you go to the library or hire or teach your dog how to type or whatever, but this is a requirement. We don't care about anything else. We don't want to ask for our vehicle. We don't want you to ask for any else on staff to be able to help.
Yeah, and let me clarify on that, Mr. Hewish. This position is very, very unique in the way we're building it. The city staff will not have oversight over this position, although we are almost merely like serving as an employment agency, because according to the contract that we have to fulfill, the contracted engineer has to direct this individual. However, the city is using, its organization to place this position so that the contractor doesn't have to incur that expense, doesn't have to earn a profit from this. So basically, as we said, what can we do that you still have control over that position? You have to get the job done in accordance to your obligations that you're set out to do. How can the city help in minimizing that cost? And this is basically the idea. And really is, those positions need to be independent from the city. They need to look out for safety, look out for the contractor doing what they're supposed to be doing, and basically reporting not to the city, but to the contract engineer.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to applaud staff on thinking it through and trying to reduce the cost to the minimum. And just goes to show you we got great people on staff. Thank you.
I mean, if we're not, may I ask for those questions? If we're not overlooking at the staff, can we at least get Bay Acres to represent itself in some way? Since we are organizing it, because I've gotten some complaints where they got contracts for that new water, for the new sewage, where they had to sign to be a part of it, but they had no voice as far as, complaining to the city or asking questions. So can we get them represented somehow in this way? Or is it, once we approve it, we're washing our hands and they're taking care of it?
Oh, Mr. Mayor, Councilmember Grijalva, there was representation from the group. There was a steering committee created for the Bay Acres project. We've held 2 public sessions which were very, very well attended. A lot of residents attended with education on the project. And we've opened our doors, and we currently what we're doing is actually going door to door to Bay Acres and educating the people there of what's happening. Because you're right, we're needing for them to sign contract agreements and easements so that a contractor can come in and build on their property, and that they know that they're going to have to pay a sewer fee once they're hooked up to city sewer. And we constantly get questions, both in person, phone, Facebook. I mean, we're getting a lot of feedback from these folks, and if you hear from them, please send them to us, send them to the Public Works office, and we can answer those questions. We also have pamphlets and information listed on our website as well.
Mr. Mayor, if I may, and of course with your approval, Mr. Pedrosa, regarding my statement, but as we all know, Bay Acres is not part of the city. It hasn't been incorporated, annexed, I mean. And as part of this, I think it's important for the public to know, as well as, and to reaffirm to the council that this is basically a partnership, big project we're doing with the county in order to bring sewer services to the Bay Acres Colonia. It's federally funded. The county is knee-deep in the project with the city. The public hearings we had were in conjunction with city officials, with county officials, city-appointed folks, and so we're working hand in hand with the city to bring these services. And the city obviously has expanded, is in the process of expanding their sewer plant to bring services to Bay Acres Colonia, and obviously there's future plans for that. So I hope that sheds a little more light into what staff has been doing and the scope of the project as a whole. Thank you, Mayor.
Terrific. Thank you, Mr. Flores.
Mayor, just to throw out a suggestion. I mean, when those meetings are held, I mean, I wasn't invited. I don't know if council was invited. I'd like to be invited to that, so when they come up to us, we can give them an answer instead of, redirecting them to, especially when we're going to vote on it. It's just a suggestion.
Very good. Any other comments? Mr. Yush?
I'm sorry.
Roll call.
Ward 1?
Yes.
Ward 2?
Yes.
Ward 3?
Yes.
Ward 4?
Yes.
Ward 5?
Yes.
Ward 6?
Yes.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes. Motion carries.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Yush?
move that the mayor and council approve the first reading of ordinance number 19-1101 and to place it on second reading by number and title only.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Hewish, second by Councilmember Shelton. Any discussion? Roll call.
Ward 1?
Yes.
Ward 2?
Yes.
Ward 3?
Yes.
Ward 4? Ward 5?
Yes.
Ward 6?
Yes.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes. Motion carries.
In order to the Mayor and Council of the City of Douglas, Portage County, Arizona, partially modifying the structure of the Public Works Department by adding a construction inspector for the Bay Acres Sewer Project with a range 20, establishing severability of components of ordinance and establishing an effective date thereof.
Item number 11, discussion decision on approval of first reading of ordinance number 19-1102, an ordinance of the Mayor and Council of the City of Douglas, Cochise County, Arizona, authorizing the sale of a semi-improved parcel of land described as the easterly 150 feet of parcel 409-17-049A to Southwest Gas Corporation and located adjacent to their local facility pursuant to terms entered into by the parties, establishing severability components of ordinance and establishing an effective date thereof.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, the city of Douglas received an offer from Southwest Gas Corporation outlining their interest in purchasing city-owned property adjacent to their office and located between the ACT parking lot and Southwest Gas office building. Their intention is to expand the facility's parking lot within the next 5 years. The offer is for $88,200, or that would be $4 per square feet, which is a value listed based on the broker's statement, which was issued by Rain of Water. I recommend approval.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Hewish.
I move that the Mayor and Council approve the placement of ordinance number 19-1102 on its first reading by number and title only.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Hewish, second by Councilmember Shelton. Any discussion? Roll call.
Ward 1?
Yes.
Ward 2?
Yes.
Ward 3?
Yes.
Ward 4?
Yes.
Ward 5?
Yes.
Ward 6?
Yes.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes. Motion carries.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Hewish.
move that the Mayor and Council approve the first reading of ordinance number 19-1102 and to place it on second reading by number and title only.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Hewish, second by Councilmember Shelton. Any discussion?
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Hewish.
I'd like to thank Mr. Rainable for taking the time out of his busy schedule to provide us with that, his broker's opinion, and appreciate it. That helps us get to the price we're at.
Thank you. Roll call.
Ward 1?
Yes.
Ward 2?
Yes.
Ward 3?
Yes.
Ward 4?
Yes.
Ward 5?
Yes.
Ward 6?
Yes.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes. Motion carries.
In order for the Mayor and Council of the City of Douglas, Cochise County, Arizona, authorizing the sale of a semi-improved parcel of land described as the easterly 150 feet of parcel 409-17-049A to Southwest Gas Corporation and located adjacent to their local facility, pursuant to terms entered into by the parties, establishing severability of components of ordinance and establishing an effective date thereof.
Item number 12, discussion decision on approval of resolution number 19-1318, a resolution of the Mayor and Council of the City of Douglas, Cochise County, Arizona, approving the acceptance of a sub-grant for the library in the amount of $4,000 from the Arizona State Library and Public Records to participate in the mobile hotspot lending program for the benefit of the community. Ms. Aguilar?
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, this item is for the acceptance of a $4,000 sub-grant funding award from the Arizona State Library and Public Records to participate in the mobile hotspot lending project. The mobile hotspot is a small device which provides wireless internet access via cell phone data plan and can provide 24/7 internet access. 2 similar grants were accepted by the City of Douglas in the previous year. In January, it was for $1,500. In March, it was for $4,285. The project has been very successful within the library.
Terrific.
I recommend approval.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Hewish.
move that the Mayor and Council approve resolution number 19-1318.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Hewish, second by Councilmember Shelton. Any discussion?
Mr. Mayor, if in the future, or maybe the future meeting, I would encourage maybe that we could have Ms. White come, our city librarian, come and explain this a little bit more to us that are in the dinosaur era as far as technology and because when they first told me hotspots, I thought I'd get a little bit warm when I got near them, but they told me that that's not the case. So I was, the other night when I was downtown, I was getting cold, I was looking for a hotspot. Mr. Olson wasn't around, so I had to keep going.
Roll call.
Ward 1?
Yes.
Ward 2?
Yes.
Ward 3?
Yes.
Ward 4?
Yes.
Ward 5?
Yes.
Ward 6?
Yes.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes. Motion carries. Item number 13, discussion decision on approval of resolution number 9-1319, a resolution of the Mayor and Council of the City of Douglas, Cochise County, Arizona, authorizing the acceptance of grant funding, in the amount of $50,000 from Cochise County Flood Control for the construction of a retention pond at the northwest corner of Washington Avenue and Golf Course Road in the City of Douglas. Mr. Flores?
Thank you very much, Mayor, members of the council. This is a project that the Public Works Director identified with county officials. County was gracious enough to make some funds available. The supervisor and English made discretionary funds in the amount of $50,000 available for the initial startup cost of that retention pond. It's important for various reasons. There's a large amount of discharge from the mountainside in that particular area, which is north of the Golf Course Road, as it was in the previous item. There was a question about what's north of that. Well, at the very end of that, there's a large retention pond, and it needs to be built up. It needs more capacity in order to handle the overflow, so it will not discharge into and flood the golf course and those neighboring areas. And as part of that, Mr. Carter, the Public Works Director, also has plans to try to make it a recreational area of some type within a 3-year period. And initially, I think he's looking to spend roughly about $50,000 a year. And obviously, we're looking for future funding from the county, but the commitment that we have for right now is for the initial $50,000 within this budget year. And administration is recommending approval for believing it's in the best interest of the city to control that potential flood area in that vicinity. Thank you, Mayor.
May I have a motion to approve?
Mayor,
Mr. Lindeman?
I move that the Mayor and Council approve resolution number 19-1319.
Is there a second? Second. Motion by Councilmember Lindeman, second by Councilmember Soto. Any discussion?
Mr. Mayor, I apologize for asking so many questions this evening, but I am currently right now uncomfortable with this because I would like more information. We talk about a future plan. I'd love to see it. I think I know where the area is. It says northwest corner. I would love to see a map to be able to try to figure out exactly where it's at and what we're doing. And I would love to go visit it. So I don't know if you'd like to go with me or somebody to be able to look and see what's at. So I personally am uncomfortable about voting on this tonight, and running the risk of offending my dear former council member out there in the audience tonight that has great vision for this area. I'd like to see what the vision is of the staff before I would consider voting in the affirmative on this issue. It scares me about the future commitment to cost. If we get to a point where we can't afford it or we can't put it in the budget, where does that put us? And I also, this question may be able to be answered tonight. I know in the past or maybe it can't be, there was some legal situation that was going on in that property, and I don't know if it's been resolved or not. I don't recall receiving an update or whether I should have received an update so that I could ask that question if there's still any legal pending issues on it.
May I respond, Mayor? Mayor, members of the council, that particular parcel was involved in litigation by a claimant, and dating back about 2 years ago, that there was a settlement that was struck with the particular parties. And to make a long story short, there is no pending claims relative to those parcels, but the city now owns that parcel. And part of that settlement, when the city accepted that as part of the settlement, looking forward, we were going to consider beefing up the flood control capability of that particular parcel. So, I hope that answers your question.
Does, Mr. Mayor, and
Thank you.
I'm seeing Mr. Carson may have some layouts. I don't know, Mayor, if you want to go there or not, it's up to you.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, I have the well-developed plans here for a modern detention basin which will have a 4-to-1 slope, so you can walk on it without falling down and drowning in the water. That was built as a flood basin or flood control basin back about 50 years ago, and it washed out. We got flooding on the golf course, and we had to go out and fix the holes in the berms. But what I've developed here is actually going to be 44 feet below grade. In other words, we could remove the berm, and the water's still not going to get away from the hole. So what I need first is to get a dozer in there and start setting up the lines. And the county's agreed to give me the money to do that. I just need to get the city council to authorize a line item so we can extend the money, and then we go back to the flood control district and they give us our money back. Now, next year and for probably 2 more years after that, we're going to have some level of funding from the flood control district and perhaps some from ourselves. But, we want to get this thing built, where it really protects the neighborhood, protects the streets. And there's also a subdivision that's just across Washington on the east side. You can have their houses taken out of the floodplain as a result of building a berm up there. So we bought ourselves a scraper, old scraper, but it runs really well. And we're going to use that for one man to keep moving dirt whenever we have an opportunity. We're going to finish up the berm down Airport Road all the way to the end of the runway, it wasn't completed before. So, we have plans for all of this stuff. So we're just trying to get this thing going now rather than having to wait until July 1st.
Mr. Mayor, may I ask just, so your level of confidence is good right now that the flood district will be able to provide some future funding?
Yes. They are working over on the east side of the Bay Acres. The county's spending flood money there now. We're getting all of the flood problems around the entire perimeter of the city addressed and corrected.
I would just like to encourage council and maybe work with Public Works, because it was mentioned you wanted to make something for recreational. Maybe we can find a grant or grants to help out so it's not too much of a burden for your department. But I'm sort of with Councilman Hewitt on this. If we can be sure, or at least put this as a top priority of finding grants, of finding the money before we get to next year where we have to say, well, we don't have the money, where are we going to get it from? If Mr. Carter is confident that we can get funding, I respect that decision.
Thank you, Mr. Carter. Roll call.
Ward 1?
Yes.
Ward 2?
Yes.
Ward 3?
Yes.
Ward 4?
Yes.
Ward 5?
Yes.
Ward 6?
Yes.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes. Motion carries. Item number 14, adjournment. I have a motion to adjourn.
Mayor, I move to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Morales, second by Councilmember Shelton. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion carries. Meeting is adjourned.